Welcome back to Classic Firearms. I'm Brandon, and this is a Centurion A4 piston-driven shotgun imported, of course, by Century Arms. So with that being said, let's go ahead and dive right on into the video. I'm gonna lay it out first for you, how we're gonna break it down, and then we'll get into it, I guess. So first things first, we're gonna go over the tech specs. Then we are going to weigh, measure, and gauge that trigger pull to verify that against those tech specs that we get directly from the interwebs. So with that being said, let's dive right on into tech specs. Your total weight's actually gonna be 8.63 pounds, and your capacity is gonna be 5+1. You do also have an adjustable front sight that is fiber optic, which is red, which is always nice. We'll get to that in a second. And a rear sight on that Picatinny, also adjustable. This, of course, is chambered in 12 gauge. There is a single choke in there, which we'll pop out in a second and see exactly which one it comes with. That is the only one in the box. And then, of course, your overall length is 41.7 inches. Your barrel length is 20 inches, and there are adjustable chokes that actually you can put in there. But this one, there's only one that comes in the box, and it is already inserted for you. So now, let's dive in tip to butt and see what we are talking about with the gun. So we do have that red front adjustable sight that I was talking about on the front. It is fiber optic and raised just a little bit. And that front sight is attached directly to that barrel. Of course, that is attached all the way out to that 3-inch chamber. On the bottom, you do have your tubular magazine, which directly connects you to your foregrip right up front. This is polymer. It does feel very good in the hand. You do have some nice grooves right here, so when you're grabbing it and your hands start to get a little sweaty, or when you feel the impulse of that 12 gauge, it's gonna be very easy to hang on to. As we fall on back, we do see that we have a metal Picatinny rail up top. You can put pretty much any of those red dots that you're gonna wanna put on there, or just leave the iron sights up there. Your rear sight and front sight are both made out of polymer, so if you want to put a red dot on there, that's completely up to you. These guys do look really good out of the box, and it's a 12 gauge shotgun. Do with that information as you may. Now, if you look, you do have a bit of a dovetail underneath that Picatinny rail, so you can remove that and actually put a more traditional sight on there if you already have those as well. So of course you can pop that metal Picatinny rail off. There's a dovetail underneath, and you can put something on it, just allowing you a little bit of customization, which is always a good thing. We do have a corrugated, I suppose, charging handle here, which is made out of metal. Now this, it's got holes in it that kind of bleed through, so keeping it cool should be easy, and also just looks cool for aesthetics. Now, your bolt carrier group does feel pretty smooth right out of the box, and of course you have your silver feed ramp, which does add a nice aesthetic because it's silver, but also it's smooth as well. Actually, very smooth right out of the box. Sometimes you get these right out of the box and they're a little bit on the grimy side or grinding side. This one's very smooth, which is always good to see. So moving on, you do have your trigger guard down below. This is made out of polymer as well as that trigger. So let's go ahead, show you guys one more time. She's clear, nothing in there. We always clear every gun before any video, but let's see how it feels right away. A little bit of take up and bang. Okay, so I'm gonna show you guys what that looks like a little bit more. Okay, so you have a little bit of take up right there. Hit a very, very solid wall, and then bang. So yeah, right after that wall is the trigger pull. There is no more movement after you get to that wall, which is nice. Since it's semi-automatic, that reset is going to be very tactile. So that's going to be easy to put down range the whole magazine pretty quickly, which is nice. We'll measure that trigger pull in just a second. I can tell you my guess, right around 5 pounds. That's what I feel like it kind of feels like, but the trigger gauge will let us know for sure. As we fall down just a little bit farther, our grip is made out of rubber. Now there's a polymer underlay underneath that rubber, so it's nice and firm. So when you grab it, it's not like flimsy or anything like that. So when you pull it up and you put it in, it is very ergonomic. The finger grooves in there do catch your fingers pretty well. Even though it is rubber, when you start sweating, this doesn't feel like it's going to slip right out of my hands. Which I think the finger grooves are gonna help with that a lot. And as we fall back, you can see that we do have our polymer buttstock with the swing swivel mount right on the bottom. You have also a nice big rubber butt pad, so that will help you mitigate some of that 12 gauge recoil, because if you've never shot it before, have fun. They're not terrible to shoot or anything like that, but 12 gauge is notorious for having a little more kick than you might be used to. Now, this is a sub 400 piston-driven shotgun with 5+1 capacity, so that's a very good price, especially because you're getting that Picatinny rail up top. Everything's really solid here. It is built very well. It does feel very solid in your hands, and this does feel like something that will last. So the value you're getting is very good. So now let's move on to the testing portion. Let's weigh it. Let's get our trigger pull and some measurements. We're gonna start out with measurements and then move on from there. I'll be right back. All right, we have our handy dandy measuring tape right here. Let's go ahead and see where we lie. No jokes intended there. All right, let's see exactly where we lie on the length scale. That's upside down for you guys, I apologize. But you're right at that 41.5-inch mark, if we can get a good zoom on that, right in that ballpark. So accurate to what you're seeing on the website there, boom. You're also looking at about 6.5, 7 inches with that iron sight up top, total for the height. So let's go ahead and get that trigger weight. I got that right here. Turn that bad boy on, get her ready to go. All right, so I'm going to support the shotgun. We're going to give it a good hearty pull, and we'll do it a couple times so we get you a good average. In 3, 2. All right, 6.6 pounds. That's a little heavier than I thought. Moving on. One more time, in 3, 2. That one was 4.9 pounds. One more, my guess, sitting right in that 5-pound mark. Let's reset this. In 3, 2, 4.1 pounds. I would calculate that average right around that 5-pound mark, roughly on the shotgun. So it feels really good. That trigger feels really good. I just want that to be noted. Very nice trigger on this thing. All right, now let's weigh her. All right, scale's on the table. Let's go ahead and see exactly how much she weighs. Come on, there we go. We are looking at 8.6 pounds, so a little bit lighter than they actually quoted on the website. So with that being said, the Centurion A4 semi-automatic piston-driven shotgun that has a 20-inch barrel is a very good value right out the box. But that's all I have for you guys today. So if you have any experiences with the Centurion A4 shotgun, please leave a review down below. We would love to see your comments. I know I'll be down there trying to answer as many questions as I possibly can, pending my time allows me to. Sometimes I get busy. I'll be down there though. Yeah, so that's everything. With that being said, God bless, stay safe. It is time to end. Now, I'm gonna go shoot this thing.